Hello everyone, thanks for coming outside with me today. It's now October 2nd here in Pennsylvania, which means that archery season is well underway, as well it is across most of the country. And with the start of archery season, I've been getting a ton of questions from new archers and old archers alike about target panic and buck fever, as we in the archery world like to call it. If you've been in archery long enough, or if you're just getting started, you know that when you come to full draw, eventually you're going to get to a point where your pin gets on the center, or even if you get so panicked that you can't put your pin on the center, that you're there and you punch it, right? Like you're trying to pull a shotgun when you're trying to hit a clay pigeon in flight. And it can be something that's really debilitating. If you've never suffered from archery panic before, trust me, you will, and you will understand why it can be so hard to get out of it. So there are two things I basically attribute target panic to. One is mental panic and the other is physical panic. So let's go over the thing that I do to combat the mental panic first. When it comes to mental panic, you have to get used to just seeing your pin where you want your pin to be, which is in the bullseye, or on the case of a 3D target like I have downrange, getting it behind the shoulder, right where you want in the kill zone. So take your bow. There's no need to have any arrow knock. There's no need to even draw your bow. Act like you're going to draw, and then settle your pin. And just hold it there for as long as you can. And when your shot still really starts to break down, just come back down and you're fine. You're not used to holding the weight of your bow without that back tension of drawing the string. Just take a pair of sights, even take the sights off your bow and just hold them up and point at things in your living room. Just sit there, point it at the target and just put that pin, if you have a clock in your living room, point it at that. You're watching football on TV, follow the ball with your pin. Just get used to it. That mental issue of not being able to put your pin on, it can really be debilitating. I've seen people, they'll go and they'll draw their bow, and you can actually watch them. They'll hold, and all of a sudden they'll jump and they'll shoot real quick because they literally couldn't put the pin on the center and hold it there. They mentally just mentally couldn't actually put the pin on target without feeling the need to shoot immediately. So then once your mental side is accomplished and you've kind of figured out what you need to do with that, you need to get onto something for your physical. Now the biggest problem I see with target panic for beginning archers, and this has nothing to do with the bow, it actually has to do with the release. Oftentimes the release arm is too long. Notice that my release, once it's fully strapped onto my wrist and everything's tight, the release head comes no higher than the base of my fingers. This allows with tension that all my fingers will sit comfortably behind, but then when my index finger comes over, I can curl into my second knuckle on my index finger. If your release arm is too long, you'll really be reaching out here and you'll have a tendency to want to slap your finger down on the release. And you really don't want that to happen. The way it was described to me is that if you can get your whole finger in there, then you actually just kind of make a fist. You just kind of gradually squeeze your whole hand together. You just keep squeezing, and all of a sudden the bow will release. Once you get that all established, this is a great way here. I just have a piece of 550 paracord. Notice there's a knot tied in the center. You can use any sort of string you want as long as it's able to be strong enough to hold a little bit of tension here, but also not too thick that you can clip your release onto it. I just do a loop and I just tie it around the handle of the riser right where I put my hand naturally, so it's right in the center of the bow. And then I go through my draw cycle. So I'll start my hand here, I will come up, put the string under tension, and then I just put my pin where I want it to be, and I execute a shot. Act like I'm drawing, anchor like I'm supposed to, hold the bow like I'm supposed to, put that pin right where I want it, and squeeze. I could do this all day without a single muscle strain. You could do this for hours. You can do this in your living room. Watch the Outdoor Channel, wait till that buck comes on the screen, put that pin behind your shoulder and squeeze. You can even do the meh. Also, if you don't feel like getting your bow out, your wife keeps yelling at you to get the bow out of the living room and quit shooting the TV, then just take your string and your release and loop it around your fingers. And you can do this anywhere. You could do this sitting down. You could do this out in the woods. You could do this on a road trip. Just push, pull with your thumb, get under tension, point your thumb at whatever you want, pretending your bow's here in your hand, and just squeeze. You want to have it be a surprise release 100% of the time. Whether you're shooting a target in your backyard or a whitetail out in the woods, you need that release to be a surprise to you as it is to the animal. So once you've figured it out mentally, then you figure it out physically, then you can add an arrow, but you're still not going to shoot. Drawing naturally, but I'm not going to put my finger in front of the trigger. I'm just going to find my pin and hold it there. And when my shot starts to break down, I'm just going to let down, Eventually I'm going to get tired doing that. So I'm going to take a break. Think, how was my draw cycle? How was my bow hand? What was it doing? Was I comfortable with my grip? Was I comfortable with my anchor? And I'm going to come up and do it again. And now that I'm under full tension, I am going to put my finger, but I'm still not going to shoot. I'm just going to get used to, look how far my finger can curl over. You want to get used to the actual process of shooting a bow. It's just like a golfer who goes out and hits wiffle balls in his backyard for hours and hours and hours. He's not hitting a real ball, but he's just getting used to that swing, his pattern, his precision of how he wants to strike the ball on the club head. The same thing's true with archery. It's just like any other sport. You need to kind of do dry runs before you just leap into launching arrows down range. The last piece of the puzzle, after you've figured out your mental, you've figured out your physical, is actually slinging an arrow down range, but only about 4 to 5 feet away. This is called blind bail shooting. I'm going to draw my bow. I'm going to come back, I'm going to anchor, I'm going to put my pin in the center, I'm going to pull my finger, and then I'm going to close my eyes. There's no way I'm going to miss it. The target's so close. Close my eyes, and I'm going to execute the shot. If you don't feel comfortable closing your eyes, you don't have to. Do them with them open, but you're trying to focus as best you can on the release, what your two hands are doing. You don't care what the arrow is doing. The arrow is going to go down in range, whether it's a good shot or whether it's a bad shot. You need to make your body have a good shot. So for after you do this for however many hours, days, weeks, it could be months, and that's fine. You should never be ashamed of building good form, right? No running back in the NFL says, man, I really did too many tackle drills or hurdles or whatever. No, they'll tell you that they did all of that hard work so that way they could be as best as they possibly can. That's true with any athlete. Just learn to just build your shot up from the mind outwards, and you'll be a much more successful archer. So that's all for this video. If you ever have any questions about target panic or archery in general, please feel free to hit me over on Facebook. You can always send me a message. I get back to everybody as quickly as I can over there. You can also leave a comment here on YouTube. I hope you're able to get out and enjoy the sport of archery. Hope kick target panic's butt. Enjoy archery hunting if you so choose. Of course, enjoy God's beautiful creation that He has given to us, and we'll get to see you next time.